Hello, guys. Welcome to BTC Strategy, episode 4. Bitcoin price कल ऑल टाइम हाई टच किया $118,900, $1,18,900. रुपीस की टर्म्स में 1 करोड़ क्रॉस हो गया. मार्केट कैप हो गई 2.34 ट्रिलियन. एंड ट्रेजरीज कंपनीज धड़ाधड़ बिटकॉइन लिए जा रही है. इंडिया में भी बाप स्ट्रेटेजी आ रही है. मेरे साथ है निहाल, सेतु, दिगंत. हेलो गाइस, कैसे हो भाई लोग?
Hey everyone.
Hey guys,
Yeah.
काफी अच्छा लगा. Congratulations to everyone listening for the new all-time high. Sorry.
New all-time high.
काफी momentum पकड़ लिया था yesterday. Like within a matter of 2-3 days, we saw the 108 पे hover जो कर रहा था. It climbed to easily 118. And with that, obviously, a lot of chatter has happened on the the treasury front as well for a lot of companies. And there are a lot of new entrants and a lot of speculation around them also. And because of the price rise, unke bhi price have risen. As always, it is our duty to inform that this is not an investment advice, and these treasury discussions that we have are out of our own interests and what we want to see in India play out as well. And one of them is Jet King, and उनका भी अभी बहुत अच्छा बड़ा update आया था in like yesterday, I think. So this is exactly it. So yeah, anyone wants to go for this? Because जो
I
भी
think दिगंत
मुंबई
बताएगा अच्छे से.
हाँ जो
He has
मुंबई
experience
मीटअप
live
में
ना.
yeah
Yeah, so last time when we went to Jet King Mumbai meetup, there they said like they will start this BAP mode, buy at any price. And yeah, they have bought two new bitcoins. So yeah.
Yeah, so the crux of what this is I think on every day, every business day, and whatever excess cash they have, they sweep it into Bitcoin. So that's the whole
Yes.
gist of what this BAP mode is, buy at any price. BAP for the international viewers जो भी देख रहे हैं, in Hindi it loosely नहीं, it translates to father, and it's a clever and it's a funny acronym. अगर जिसने भी choose किया है, kudos to them, and it's a good one because it I don't know, cheekily provides dominance in Indian market. वैसे कोई नहीं कर रहा है, and these guys have been doing well at it. And देखते हैं, like they have big plans according to the previous announcement by Siddharth. And whoever's interested in knowing on how this works, I think there is another meetup coming towards the end of the month. 27th, if I'm not wrong, is another meetup in the headquarters, Jet King headquarters, Mumbai में. So आपके अगर कोई questions हो, okay, how does this work? How to, go about this for your corporations or for your small business, जैसा भी, you can go and interact with people there. Last time का turnout बहुत अच्छा था. We had like more than 50 people at the meet. Now, again, for those who are actively interested for this, please go for that meetup as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just one more thing there. So Jet King is probably doing these meetups every month. So this meetup, they have offered this meetup venue, and there are organizers like Amol, and they have got a team. So they will be doing meetups at Jet King's place every month, probably last Saturday or last Sunday of the month.
Yeah, so next is Sunday, 27 July.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So ये बाप स्ट्रेटेजी था. 23 बिटकॉइन तक पहुंच चुका. आई गेस उन्होंने 10 बिटकॉइन से स्टार्ट किया था ना पहले. 10 से 15, 15 से 6 और लिए 21, एंड देन अभी 2 और 23.
Yeah. It was थोड़ा
धीरे धीरे
erratic.
स्पीड पकड़ रहा है.
बीच में like early days में उन्होंने जब start किया था 2022 to 2023ish में, they had Ethereum, they had USDT also, but after a point, I think last year के end में they decided वो पूरा बेच करके they fully port to Bitcoin, which is a wise decision in our opinion.
Yes.
But yeah, now they are fully committed to this, and let's see where it takes them. Abhi, I think even if you look at their share price, again, not a recommendation of any sorts, but it has been on a constant climb, like it's hitting upper circuit every day and it's doing a steady climb. And with the Bitcoin price increase, it obviously boosts confidence in the overall strategy of what Jet King is doing as well. So yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. So next thing is, आई थिंक जो फियाट वाले हैं या फिर जो नॉन बिटकॉइंस आते हैं वो शायद ये लाइन समझ ना पाए. सो ये पियरी रिचार्ड का पोस्ट है ट्विटर पे. लेट्स बी क्लियर, द फर्स्ट ट्रेजरी कंपनीज आर बबल. फियाट, सॉरी, द फियाट ट्रेजरी कंपनीज आर
Yeah.
बबल. Fiat, not Bitcoin treasury companies. Fiat treasury companies are bubble. How are you supposed to value a company that holds zero Bitcoin? And every financial influencer in the world is shilling these to retail investors. राइट. सो ये बहुत ही थोड़ी सार्कास्टिक है. इसमें गहरा मीनिंग छुपा है कि अभी जो सारी इकोनॉमी, सारी जो कंपनीज है वो उसको मार्केट पी से प्राइस, लाइक अर्निंग से प्राइस करता है. लेकिन अब मार्केट शिफ्ट हो रहा है बीटीसी डिनोमिनेटेड बैलेंस शीट पे एम नेव के हिसाब से. सो या कोई कहना चाहेगा दिगांत से तू?
Yeah, I think the valuation which these TradFi guys and Wall Street guys give is basically on the EPS, which Bhavik was talking about. It's on earnings. So when you give a company a multiple on earnings, then it's like it will take nearly 30 PE is considered as normal. And that what that means when you value a company at 30 PE, it says that like 30 more years will be required to recover that earning. So this kind of crazy multiples are there because of the fiat inflation and fiat printing. But on a Bitcoin standard, you won't see these kind of crazy multiples. As me and Bhavik were talking in the last episode also, when we are on Bitcoin standard, when companies are on Bitcoin standard, there might not be many people investing in stock markets. So the main reason why these companies are trading at a higher P multiple is because everybody is into stocks and everybody is buying S&P at any price, literally at any price. Everyone has their SIPs turned on, and the passive funds just keep adding into these fiat treasury companies. So that's the reason why we see these crazily high valuations. On the Bitcoin standard, that would not be the case. And we will see a healthy multiple of MNAV around Bitcoin. So that is the future. And yeah, I agree with the statement there.
थोड़ा सा sarcastic भी है कि काफी लोग बात कर रहे हैं कि how come a company with 60,000 bitcoins is valued at 120,000 bitcoin, या फिर किसी के पास एक बिटकॉइन है 4x mNAV पे valued है. But Superior Rashad is making a sarcastic comment on it कि भाई जिन companies के पास कुछ bitcoin है ही नहीं, they're also getting valuation. So the fact that some companies which have one bitcoin is getting valued at 4 bitcoin is not the bubble. The bubble is the other side. जिसके पास कुछ नहीं है, they're also getting valued. So yeah, I mean it's funny observation.
यही देखो, है ना. The
Yeah.
S&P 500 is valued at 500 million Bitcoin. The
Million
companies in the
Bitcoin.
S&P 500 hold 20,000 Bitcoin. The
Yeah.
Bitcoin MNAV of the S&P 500 is 24,000. The market valuation systems are nowhere near equilibrium, है ना. Fiat as a unit of account is clashing with Bitcoin as a unit of account. So ये भी उससे उसका ही.
Now, इसका अगर आप compare करोगे तो I mean you can draw the same comparisons with Nifty 50 also. Nifty 50 या Nifty या benchmark और BSE का benchmark भी. I did this exercise last year in August. तब से बहुत कुछ change हुआ है, so I don't have that sheet anymore. But yeah, it's a good measure to have के how much overvalued the Indian stock market also is. Because अगर आप देखोगे, I think I Investivise करके एक brand है, they put out a post yesterday where it said कि most expensive stock markets in the world, first आता है US, then comes India. So उसमें you know कि we are being extremely overvalued for most of the stocks that have happened. And this brings with the whole controversy jo Jane Street ka recently hua tha, if you guys have read and are aware of that.
Hmm.
So they are again a US company, and they've made their presence here in India through various firms, and they've been shorting their MO is they buy the independent stocks of banks. Just for example, एक छोटा case study है. You have a bank like say HDFC, ICICI, whatever. Individual stock ये खरीदते थे जिससे इंडेक्स का वैल्यू बढ़ता था, and then on the other hand they would short the index and immediately sell the individual stock of the bank account.
Hmm.
ऐसा करके I think they earned around, I don't know, 3 billion in the span of 3 years.
Hmm.
I don't know,
4
30 or 3.
billion.
Yeah, it's a
Uh,
huge amount. And for some who refer to it as arbitrage, and there are some who refer to it as market manipulation. Scale, like it has two sides of the same coin.
Hmm. बट
So yeah,
हाँ नहीं, जैसे जैन स्ट्रीट है ना, बट जैसे एज ए बिटकॉइनर्स को तो पता है कि सबसे बड़ी जैन स्ट्रीट क्या है ना, सबसे बड़ी जैन स्ट्रीट कौन चलाते हैं। तो अब जो उतना बड़ी माफियागिरी चलेगी तो उसमें छोटे मोटे माफियाज तो आके कोशिश करेंगे ही लूटने
of
की,
course,
और उनको ही गंदा दिखाया जाता है, बट वो इंसेंटिव्स है, एंड बिकॉज दे कैन डू इट सो दे आर डूइंग इट। बिटकॉइन उसको इंसेंटिव्स को ही हटाता है, सो
true. So yeah, that was about the overvaluation of the stock markets.
नेक्स्ट थिंग इज, ये भी अच्छा है, अभी हम ट्रेजरी को ऊपर ऊपर से ही कवर कर रहे हैं एक्चुअली। बिटकॉइन ट्रेजरी कंपनीज आर नॉट फॉर बिटकॉइनर्स, दे आर नॉट अ रिप्लेसमेंट फॉर सेल्फ कस्टडी ना, राइट? They are punching glowing orange holes in the 300 trillion fixed income dam. Yeah. Where trillions of dollars are trapped behind mandates, pensions, and yield starved portfolios. ये जो ट्रैप लिखा है उसमें आपको ही बताना ना क्यों। They are not staking sets for retail. They are siphoning capital from bond markets, converting low yield sludge into Bitcoin backed equity. This isn't about replacing hodlers. It's about front running the capital migration of the century. Yeah.
So, as
Right.
Mark Moss is discussing on capital mandates, so for the guys who are not, who don't know what is capital mandate is basically, let's say for an example, a fund manager is managing a mutual fund whose mandate is to invest in IT stocks. Then he can't invest outside of that IT stock thing. So there are mandates in this pool of different pool of funds which Taylor is targeting. So there are credit mandates in the US, and these so Sailor targeted equity market with MSTR. Sailor is now targeting credit market with Stripe, and Stride. So these holes, as you can see in the picture, these are Stripe, and Stride. Pulling and siphoning of the capital from credit market, bond market to Bitcoin. So yeah,
Hmm.
this is basically because these credit market fund managers can't invest in Bitcoin directly. So now they have an
Hmm.
instrument called a Stripe, where they
Hmm.
can get a Bitcoin exposure. So this is how they are like Sailor is creating new Sailor and all other treasury companies are creating. Even we have similar starting these preferred stocks. So yeah, this is the way um, for the guys who are not into Bitcoin but they want exposure to Bitcoin.
Correct. Yeah.
Now, if you compare that to the Indian scenario B, now whoever wants to have the exposure in Bitcoin but are are aware of the tax implications and kitna hai, because virtual digital assets and cryptocurrencies are treated differently in India specifically. So if you want a exposure of sorts, you have one option in India as of now, that is Jetking. And uske through agar aap same thing, if you apply your short term capital gains, long term capital gains, then you have like 12.5 and 20% compared to the 30-35% of cryptocurrencies. So obviously people would prefer this, and depending on how aggressive Jet King is in their acquisition process, it would change a lot of dynamics. If you thoroughly अगर आप उनका balance sheet and statements भी पढ़ोगे, then there will be a lot of individual investors, institutional investors are also who are aware of what's happening and they are partaking in and buying their stocks. Uh, I don't have the sheet right now in front of me, but आगे चल के we will discuss about who are these individual people who are heavily invested, because it's all public information. It's out there, but it's not being talked about much. But it needs to be, highlighted and brought about in the future.
Yeah.
Also saying that if I'm not wrong, Jetking is going at an 8x MNAV at the moment, and it is expensive, but at the same time, that's the only option in India for a Bitcoin treasury company as of now. So yeah.
So this is the reason why treasury companies are like how Michael Saylor says, every market needs a treasury company. So this is the reason, like Jet King is targeting Indian equity markets, but still we have the Indian credit market. So think it from a point of view of an NPS fund manager. So you might be aware of NPS. Basically, all the government employees or even private employees, they can invest in NPS. So these NPS fund managers have a mandate to invest in these kind of like some part in equity, some part in debt, some part in some other alternative investments. So currently there is no alternative to invest in Bitcoin in India. That is the reason why we need these Bitcoin treasury companies. I will tell you a short story. Like when I got fully into Bitcoin, I was looking for my mom, like how can I convert her NPS into Bitcoin? But I was unable. Like I didn't have any method to gain exposure into Bitcoin for her. And it's like, yeah, it's giving 7%, 8%. They are invested in the state government bonds and some that stuff. So that is not the way, right? So compare this to US market now. US market has strike and stripe. So they can convert their IRA, individual retirement account. This is similar to NPS there. And they can buy the strike and stripe there. Or they can buy MSTR. So we will need Bitcoin treasury companies in India and also in every other market. Yeah.
One thing, एक जैसे ये आर्बिट्राज है, राइट? आर्बिट्राज कहो या फिर ऐसे है कि क्रिप्टो पे डायरेक्ट 30% टैक्स है, सो और ये दूसरा है कि मैंडेट्स है, इसके कारण ट्रेजरी कंपनीज चाहिए कि ताकि लोग वो कर पाए. बट इसमें लाइक इज इट गुड फॉर बिटकॉइन, इज इट बैड फॉर बिटकॉइन, और द क्वेश्चन इज रॉन्ग कि कहीं ना कहीं मतलब इंडिविजुअल्स के पास बिटकॉइन जाने चाहिए, वो अब ट्रेजरी कंपनीज के पास कॉन्सेंट्रेट हो रहे हैं, या फिर लाइक इज इट अ कंसर्न, और या ऐसे ही होगा जो भी होना है?
आई थिंक मतलब होना तो अपने हिसाब से तो ऐसा होना चाहिए कि individuals should have more and more Bitcoin, but we have Lynn Alden's article in the further lineup. So there she talks about where current system is much better than the previous one. Like previously we were getting into crypto and then we were coming into Bitcoin. We all have same story, but now we are first getting into Bitcoin treasury company and then we will lead to Bitcoin. So yeah, I mean, I am not the right person to ask, but I don't know like how will this go forward into the future.
Yeah.
I think it's, in my opinion, like there are parts of it which is good, and that part is right now companies don't have an incentive to uh, to sort of receive Bitcoin as the unit of account or as medium of exchange. Uh, Bitcoin treasury companies sort of push the narrative in that direction, because right now they have to buy Bitcoin. So whatever businesses they do, whatever financial instrument that they can deploy, they sort of buy as many Bitcoins as possible. But in future, they will need to sell their products and services. Bitcoin is right now cheap enough that you can expand fiat and buy Bitcoin. But in future, of course, you'll have to sell your products and services in Bitcoin, and it sort of paves them to go that direction.
ये फाइनली हेल्प होने वाली बात ही आ रही है ना, मतलब कि आई गेस बिटकॉइन वाज डिजाइन फॉर इंस्टीट्यूशंस रादर देन इंडिविजुअल्स, कि नहीं?
मेरे ख्याल से बिटकॉइन वाज डिजाइन फॉर एवरीवन. मतलब बिटकॉइन वाज
हाँ
डिजाइन फॉर एवरीवन. इंस्टीट्यूशंस के पास अभी रीजन नहीं है बिटकॉइन को एक्सेप्ट करने का मीडियम ऑफ एक्सचेंज, और बिटकॉइनर्स के लिए प्रोडक्ट सर्विस बना भी नहीं रहे. दिस विल पुश देम टू टेक दैट डायरेक्शन, बिकॉज ये कभी ना कभी तो फ्री मनी एग्जॉस्ट होना ही है. तो आई थिंक yeah, eventually people will exhaust as much money, as much loan that they can take, and they will have to survive on the product and services that they create.
हाँ.
So
बट अगर हम 10-15 साल 20 साल आगे देखे तो मोस्टली 99% ट्रांजेक्शन है वो तो इंस्टीट्यूशन और वही करने वाले हैं ना, इफ हेल्फ इज राइट, और लाइक इफ बिटकॉइन इज अबाउट टू स्केल. बट थोड़ा टेंशन
हाँ,
जा रहा है, बट या
एक जो मुझे लगता है ना कि दिस इज हाउ गवर्नमेंट्स विल मोनेटाइज देयर रेगुलेटरी ऑफरिंग्स. I mean, the protection that stock market gives over something like ICOs is that these offerings are regulated. तो अगर आपके पास एक certain stock है, it's like protected by the state. कोई भी random issuance नहीं हो सकता. मतलब there has to be process through which issuance will happen, dilution will happen. So in that ways, the state is offering that service and collecting a small fees. But अगर you don't want all of that, you want to be a bearer, you want to own that asset yourself, and you don't really, and you have a really long time horizon, like you have 50 years time horizon, wherein most of us believe that the NI will come back to money. Then you are like better off just keeping a Bitcoin, just stacking as many Bitcoin as possible. Yeah.
या राइट. सो या नेक्स्ट पोस्ट या पेरी रिचार्ड का दूसरा पोस्ट है. इसमें निहाल, वुड यू लाइक टू लीड और?
Sure. Basically, यहाँ पे again, like we just discussed, there are two aspects of this. There are Bitcoin maximalists who advocate for self custody, which is absolute true and होना भी चाहिए on every level. And इसमें because you know, like Saurabh also just mentioned, it is instantly auditable. Funds cannot be frozen, diluted, rehypothecated. Basically, one Bitcoin will always remain one Bitcoin. But what happens when you buy a stock on a Bitcoin treasury company, like of a Bitcoin treasury company? उसके अलग ट्रेड ऑफ्स डेफिनेटली हैं. मैनेजमेंट उसमें डेट इंट्रोड्यूस कर देगा, and then you're diluting your shareholders to buy more Bitcoin, and then uh, you have a lot of other factors like custody risks and other uh, you know regulatory scrutiny कह लो. You have bankruptcy का issue. You have a lot of unforeseen circumstances, whereas when you're self-custodying your Bitcoin, it's only one thing. K At a protocol level, you just need to be aware of what's happening. There are challenges. I mean, I personally feel not immediately in the near future, 10 saal, 15 saal, we don't know how it will shape up, but then there are, advancements being made in the quantum computing space and stuff. How will that affect Bitcoin? That's yet to be seen. But yeah, obviously, if that does affect Bitcoin, it affects everything else, all your banking systems which are already in place. So yeah, that's a small risk to factor in compared to the enormous amounts of risks on a treasury company. So if you would personally ask me, Bitcoin custody, self custody is extremely important, and you should have a lot of percentage if you are comfortable in that. Otherwise, if you just want the price exposure and if you don't understand, if you don't want to get into the monetary aspect, कि Austrian economics क्या है, how does money printing work, कि क्यों हो रहा है, why is there sudden inflation after 2020, and what is government doing, ये big beautiful bill क्या है, so that's what Bitcoin does, right? It forces you to learn the other things which you do not have time for. So when you look at it, daily rat race में सब लोग भाग रहे हैं, they want to earn more, they want to do things. And sure, this is one of the ways people get exposure to what Bitcoin is. If just suppose like around अगर 100 में से maybe 5% or maybe 1% of people will actually learn about Bitcoin after getting maximum fiat gains through Bitcoin treasury companies. So it's a journey, it's a long cycle. So इसमें कोई अच्छा बुरा नहीं है. It's one way of adoption and one way of exposing people to what Bitcoin is and what it can do, what's its potential in the future. That's all.
एक चीज अभी निहाल ने बताई ना, उसका मैं बताना चाहूंगा कि आफ्टर ऑल वी आर बाइंग ट्रेजरी कंपनीज और एनीवन इज बाइंग ट्रेजरी कंपनीज टू हैव मोर बिटकॉइन, राइट? सो मैं कुछ टाइम से कर रहा हूँ एंड आज ही मैं सुबह सोच रहा था कि आई हैव सम प्रॉफिट छोटा सा है, बट आई विल विड्रॉ इट एंड आई विल स्टेक सम सेट्स बाय सेलिंग सम ट्रेजरी कंपनीज. सो आई गेस करते रहना, हर किसी को करते रहना चाहिए, बिकॉज द गोल इज टू हैव मोर सेट्स रादर देन मोर,
That is true.
अकॉर्डिंग टू जैसे भी सही लगे. बट या
I think I saw one of these posts by Metaplanet Bulls last week, and I think मैंने आप लोगों के साथ भी share किया था. So basically, what it said was, as a case study, if you had put 1 Bitcoin when Metaplanet started its Bitcoin treasury operations, abhi you would have around 35 Bitcoin. So
55.
55, great. So that's the thing, but you can't be sure. हो सकता है, नहीं हो सकता है. It's all a mystery.
माइनस टैक्स है ना.
हाँ, of course, माइनस टैक्स
tax.
हटा भी दो यार, 5 बिटकॉइन निकाल लो, उसमें 50 हो गया, 50 बिटकॉइन. It still is, you are expanding on the possibility of having more Bitcoin.
बट ये थोड़ा ऐसा स्टैटिस्टिक है ना कि लाइक ये स्टैटिस्टिक्स बस दिखने को तो अच्छा है, बट लाइक कौन एंटर करता है बॉटम पे, है ना?
Yeah, absolutely.
हम एंटर
नहीं,
तब किए जब 5000 बिटकॉइन थे, तब मैं एंटर
True.
किया इनके पास.
True.
अब 15000, 3 टाइम ज्यादा बिटकॉइन है बस.
True.
बट या इट्स
देखो, ये हाइंडसाइट में सारी चीजें एनालाइज करने के लिए अच्छी हैं, बट उस टाइम पे किसी की हिम्मत नहीं होती टू बाय एट
Yes.
सच व्हेन इट्स ऑलमोस्ट $1 या $2 व्हाटएवर प्राइस.
या उसी के
I think the
चलते
best thing-
One
ये
thing,
पोस्ट.
Yeah,
Yes,
one
please.
thing that I would like to add, like me and Saurabh were discussing, like on the chat, like I said to him, there's an example of Rakesh Junjunwala where he says, like treat Bitcoin treasury companies as a short-term relationship and marry to Bitcoin. Like Bitcoin treasury companies are short-term relationships and Bitcoin is like the one which you marry. So he gives an example wherein savings is the thing which you should marry and investments are the things which you trade. So see Bitcoin treasury companies through this lens.
Then one more thing that I wanted to add is this is like if you have long-term preference, like low-time preference, they also call it, like build products or services that can earn you sats. Because over time, that is the best way to stack as much sats as possible. And if you're running your company, like not individually collecting those sats, but running a company which sells products and services and receives sats, then a company will value that like couple of multiples of your sats holding. So that is the direction to go. In the short run, of course, like you should do a Bitcoin treasury company and collect as much sats as possible because market does not have products and services getting offered for sats. Yeah, so just my 2 cents.
या एग्जैक्टली. तो उसी के चलते थोड़ी रिलेटिव पोस्ट. दिगंत, आप उसमें विल यू शेड द लाइट?
Yeah. So इसके पहले का क्या है? This is 100% true, but it should also make you stop think about Bitcoin treasury companies. Why almost?
ओके, लेट मी ओपन. या ये था. दिस इज द मेन ट्वीट.
Yeah.
Bitcoin
Bitcoin will
will outperform the S&P
outperform
500
until S&P 500 becomes Bitcoin. So basically, this translates to what we were talking about. Like every company at a point in time will have Bitcoin, and they will perform like in line with Bitcoin. So there is no need to buy that company unless and until they are like exceeding the Bitcoin's rate, which we call Bitcoin as a hurdle rate. So unless and until a company is exceeding that hurdle rate, there is no incentive to invest in that company. So in this post, what Stony Chambers is trying to uh, tell is that also in our last session, I think we have this video of Matthew Crater, where he discussed like how big shorts can destroy your treasury company. So if you guys have not watched, please watch that video. So in that video, he explains like these small Bitcoin treasury companies can be destroyed by these large short or large hedge fund guys. Basically, if you want to destroy a Bitcoin treasury company, bring back the MNAV of that treasury company to one. That treasury company literally can't do anything.
How
So
will you bring
that
it to
is the
one?
reason why they will short the share. And what the Jim Chanos is doing right now, similar strategies will be applied through these hedge funds, and do some negative PR and do that kind of stuff. So that will destroy a newly started treasury company. And basically, how a treasury company is built. A treasury company currently is built only on MNAV. If that company doesn't have MNAV, then it's not accretive to shareholders. So yeah, that is the reason why this guy is saying that most of the Bitcoin treasury companies might underperform Bitcoin, which is why it's best to stick with MSTR. He argues like he is also MSTR bull, so take that with a grain of salt, because uh, one thing is that I don't think there will be any other company who will buy 6 lakh bitcoins. Or, I mean, it's difficult to buy 6 lakh bitcoins. So, how do you value MSTR? Do you value it at 6 lakh bitcoins, or do you value it like if today somebody launches Bitcoin treasury company and he has to buy 6 lakh bitcoins? So, imagine a person today buying 6 lakh bitcoins. That would be the value. And obviously, you can't buy 6 lakh bitcoins. I don't know what's the number of bitcoins trading in exchange, but if a company wants to buy 6 lakh bitcoins in a month, then Bitcoin price could go through the roof.
हाँ 21 कैपिटल तो ले
So,
सकता है ना शायद. They can. I can bet. Yeah.
yeah, because Tether is there.
But not
Yeah.
many.
But yeah,
But not
two,
many.
two to three companies will only get to that number. And by the time they reach 6 lakh, maybe strategy will reach to 1.2 million. So,
Why?
uh, that is also the case
Yeah.
with strategy,
Right.
because these stripe and stride are like crazy. I mean, they are getting. I mean, they are running a daily. So the market has figured out strike and stripe are not really where
Hmm.
not really valued where they should be. So
Hmm.
that's the reason why strike and stripe are like running more than MSTR. So if they run more than MSTR, seller is just will just shift his ATM to strike and stripe and keep the MSTR ATM off. So yeah,
Hmm.
that is the thing. Like,
ठीक है.
and one time will come wherein Apple and Amazon will also issue 21. Like here in this example, is saying that they will also issue 21 billion of preferred ATMs. So yeah, this is the reason basically why stick to Bitcoin and stick to um, like some good players, and not what
Hmm.
like swinging. It's very hard. Basically, if you enter at higher MNAV, then you might be at a mess. If
Hmm.
Bitcoin also goes down, then it would be crazy for you. Like, you might get destroyed.
Yeah.
The thing is, if there's any company which has decent number of Bitcoin and it's trading at an MNAV multiple of less than MicroStrategy, then it is a potential buyout opportunity for MicroStrategy. And because MicroStrategy also runs BTC for corporations, and they understand like how these companies are doing their accretive dilution, like going for fundraise in a bull run, as long as like they have an M&M multiple of more than MicroStrategy's 2 or 2.1, it's all good. But in a bear run, they are also potential acquisition targets. I do remember watching that Bitcoin University YouTube video wherein it was being discussed as to how can a Bitcoin treasury company can get wrecked. But in that video, the example was taken of the year 2026 when, and it was assumed that there will be a bear run and prices will start falling of all these stocks, and it will probably be around 1.5 to 2 mNAV, and that's when such attacks are possible. Like you can go short on the stock and go long on Bitcoin, and sort of try and put pressure on the prices. But I don't think right now it's possible at such a bull run. It will be difficult to execute it. It will be difficult to convince market that we can break the company, we can bring down the MNAV. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
Even I think in a podcast, Simon Gerovich discussed this. Like we might buy other Bitcoin treasury companies in other markets. So yeah, this can be done. And he also discussed that they might put some like get a loan against their Bitcoin and buy some cash flowing businesses. So understand it this way: Bitcoin treasury companies are doing this thing today, which most of the companies will do it in the future. So, like Bitcoin treasury companies are buying this digital land, like how Michael Saylor describes it. Buy a land in the Manhattan, and when the time comes, we will just rent the land. So this is what Bitcoin treasury companies are doing. They are buying the best asset out there in the market, and they will figure out. Like in one of the Bitcoin Weekly, I think Nihal has explained this, where he was talking about this lightning thing, where if strategy takes some part of their Bitcoin, then they can generate cash flow out of it. So currently, these treasury companies are in the first phase, the Bitcoin buying phase, and the next will be building businesses with the help of this pristine balance sheet. So this is how the treasury companies are uh, going forward into the future.
Awesome.
या सो अगर आप ट्रेजरी कंपनीज के लिए यही है कि आप प्रॉफिट आप करते हो, वो डिपेंड करता है कि बिटकॉइन पर शेयर इनटू एम नेव वो ज़्यादा होना चाहिए जब आप बेचते हो कंपेयर टू जब आपने खरीदा था। ऐसा नहीं कि जैसे अभी बिटकॉइन कितना पंप किया, अभी बिटकॉइन 10% पंप किया है ना, 10-20% पंप किया, तो योर ट्रेजरी कंपनी स्टॉक शुड पंप मोर देन दैट। सो इसमें ना ट्रेजरी कंपनीज में एक चीज मुझे बार बार सताती है कि 90 अब सारे इन्वेस्टर्स है, जो लॉन्ग टर्म होल्ड करेगा वो शायद प्रॉफिट कर लेगा, वो शायद 90% फेल भी हो जाए या शायद ना भी हो, डॉट कॉम बबल जैसा ना भी हो। बट द थिंग इज कि अगर कोई शॉर्ट टर्म के लिए आया है और वो छोटा बहुत प्रॉफिट करने की ट्राई करेगा, बट जो मेन फायदा जो हो रहा है वो तो कंपनीज को ही हो रहा है, ट्रेजरी कंपनीज को हो रहा है कि वो स्टॉक्स कुछ भी हो उनके पास तो बिटकॉइन आए जा रहे हैं, तेजी से बिटकॉइन आया जा रहा है यार, 10,000 15,000 5,000 बिटकॉइन, लाख बिटकॉइन। इन्वेस्टर का कुछ भी हो, इन्वेस्टर कितना पूरा रिस्क लेता है। सो इस रिस्क को हैज करने के लिए यही है कि लाइक हाँ, स्टे हम्बल एंड स्टैक सेट्स, अपना बिटकॉइन अगर आपके पास पोजीशन है उसके बाद ही ट्रेजरी में डालो। लेकिन बाकी लोग, काफी लोग अभी ट्रेजरी से ही स्टार्ट कर रहे हैं, सो उनके लिए शायद ये बहुत ही लाइक आग में हाथ डालने जैसा होगा अगर वो लॉन्ग टर्म के लिए नहीं डाल रहे तो। बट अब समझ रहे हो ना मैं क्या कह रहा हूँ, कंपनीज को तगड़ा फायदा है, ट्रेजरी कंपनीज को तगड़ा फायदा है, पूरा फायदा है।
With this, there is
Yes.
also, जैसे आपने बोला था, there's also a company called Nakamoto, which we're supposed to discuss in depth. We will do it later. They have a beautiful plan, at least on paper, but execution wise कैसे होता है, we need to see, because every country or every capital market. So basically, in short, the idea is there are approximately 80 capital markets in the world which are active and very liquid, and उसमें जो इसके फाउंडर हैं, नाकामोटो के फाउंडर हैं डेविड बेली, ही वांट्स टू मेक अ प्रेजेंस इन ऑल ऑफ दिस कैपिटल मार्केट्स। अब वो कैसे करते हैं, it's extremely difficult in my opinion, because every capital market has its own set of challenges, own sorts of regulations, and they are very volatile, क्योंकि बेसिकली क्रिप्टो करेंसी को ही लेके a lot of countries have varying stances. अब फॉर इंस्टेंस इंडिया का ही अगर आप देख लोगे, इट हैज़, वो एक कंसल्टेशन पेपर निकालने वाले थे, जून गुजर गया, अभी जुलाई है, एंड दिस कंसल्टेशन पेपर वाज सपोज्ड टू कम लास्ट ईयर, आई थिंक इन सितंबर अक्टूबर. सो इट इज
हाँ,
every day there are new developments, and usko you need to consider and then factor whatever policies you want to draft, and that's what India is doing, is my opinion.
I'm
Whereas,
curious,
हाँ बताइए.
Nihal, have you heard of any Bitcoiner being part of this consultation paper? Like, have you
Not
heard
yet.
from him?
There are a lot of crypto and web3 folks is what I'm aware of, and उनसे भी ऐसे कंसल्टेशन में ऐसे नहीं कि इन डेप्थ कंसल्टेशन हो रही है, they just sitting, and अगर उनसे क्वेश्चन पूछा जा रहा है then that's what they're sharing. This is what I've understood of late, but nothing more than that, and there is no proper Bitcoiner. And for this I would like to highlight, there are a set of very interesting articles which one of the people has written कि why does India need a Bitcoin strategic reserve. उनका नाम I don't know, is a pseudonymous person,
सतोरी,
but I'm sure.
Satori,
Satori.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
सतोरी,
Yeah.
सतोरी, yeah.
So that's one of the key like arguments for India to have Bitcoin strategic reserve. But yeah, then again, like I think there was an article which came out in one of the groups that we all are a part of. Yesterday आई थी Economic Times में, there was this article where संजय मल्होत्रा ने बोला है कि India doesn't need cryptocurrencies or Bitcoin, we have UPI. So we are at that stage. So it's not about payments and not about that at the moment. It's about capital formation and how the whole entire landscape is forming. But like again, we are discussing this in our forum here. I'm sure a lot of people would not be listening to this, but our two sats on this matter is give it a try. Sign pilot banao iska, see what's happening. And people are doing this in various countries, not for fun. I mean, there is serious implications to this and not adopting this. So pros and cons दोनों है. अच्छे से factor in करके then you can figure out. Yeah, this is the article I was referring to, and this is a excellent article written on. It's a well thought out article written on pros and cons of India adopting its own Bitcoin policy, and
Nice.
reiterating the fact loud and clear, Bitcoin needs to be treated from all the other garbage which is there, which is Web3 and crypto and blockchain technology. But yeah, this
सही
this
बात
needs to
है.
come out often, and it's very important to differentiate garbage from what we are trying to produce the value out of.
सच में.
बताइए
You know,
सौरभ, आप
वो जो
कुछ बोलना चाह रहे थे.
yeah, मेरे को मजा आया सुन के. मतलब I did not know the depths of India's movement towards this regulation space. But मेरे को ऐसा लगता है ना कि जितना काम रेगुलेटर्स करते हैं, their work is valuable, not denying that. But उससे far bigger influence in the long run, like in 50 years time, people will look back at Jet King, and whether Jet King will be there or not, but the movement that they have started, which is like putting Bitcoin in the capital sheet, now regulators will have to come and stop that. So there are two different things. Like one, regulators enabling something, which I've not seen happening. Like you have very few people of that caliber could pull off something like ISRO or Amul in India, but regulators coming and stopping something is even more difficult thing to happen, and that's where you need builders and people like the ones who are building Jetking are doing such a massive service to the ecosystem. क्योंकि वो जो कर रहे हैं उसको कॉपी करेंगे बहुत सारे लोग, और जब वो कॉपी करेंगे तो एक दिस ट्रिकल विल बिकम लाइक अ रिवर, और उसको रोकना फिर बहुत मुश्किल हो जाएगा. एंड आई थिंक आई सी दैट एज अ पाथ अहेड.
True, absolutely. I mean, what Jet King has done, जितना भी उनकी capacity में हो सकता है, they're doing it. I mean, they are a micro cap, and that needs to be factored in as well. But how much ever they're doing, no other company at this moment, at this scale, are doing it. And they have first mover advantage, and they have their own sets of fan base, is what I'm assuming. Because if you scroll through tweets and Twitter accounts, people are, cheering for them to do this. I mean, they are not. इतने लोग पागल नहीं हो सकते.
फैन बेस बन रहा है,
Yeah.
बन रहा है
Yeah,
धीरे
yeah,
धीरे. 2-3 अकाउंट्स देखे मैंने. They are,
yeah.
yeah.
एंड दे आर लाइक एक्सट्रीमली बुलिश। जैसे हम लोग इनकी बात करते हैं ना, जैसे जेफ वॉल्टन हो गए, आई मीन पंडित जेफ हो गए, एंड जैसे क्लाइम दैट लैडर हो गए वगैरह, ये जैसे अपने अपने कम्युनिटीज के लिए हैं, इंडिया में भी हैं, वेयर देर लाइक नहीं 10,000 बिटकॉइन। आई वाज लाइक ओके ब्रो, रियलिस्टिकली सोचो ये पॉसिबल है या नहीं, बट देन अब क्या बोले, दैट्स up to them. Like everyone has their own sensibilities on how to face this.
Yeah. Yeah, moving on to next thing. Jeff Parker post है on Bitcoin Treasury FUD. Why believing in Bitcoin Treasury is believing in capitalism and its fundamental freedom. So yeah, कौन इसको कवर करना चाहेगा?
दिगांत या सौरभ, आप बताइए।
किसने डाली पोस्ट?
Okay, I can try and cover this. It says I see a lot of FUD going around BTC treasury companies, especially the claim that they're just paper Bitcoin, creating 3x dilution through the MNAV premium. I get why people say this, but I'd like to shift the Overton window on on the conversation. Uh, Jeff Park basically talks about like the tenets of capitalism, and in this, if you can zoom in a bit, it says like if you believe in liquid capital market, then there will be volatility, and that volatility can be harnessed to generate yield for the customers. And the second, again, like tenets of capitalism that it comes with is like uh, humans have the right to borrow and lend against their own assets. And if that is true, then credit is fundamental, and so there should be an ecosystem built around that. And then it says BTC treasury companies are basically just using both these phenomena. Like there is a liquid public market, people are buying and selling whatever assets and whatever products, whatever offering they have. And the second thing is they are borrowing or lending. For example, these some of these companies are buying leveraged Bitcoin. They're doing leveraged Bitcoin play. So the credit is available. They're making use of that credit, which is fundamentally extremely capitalist to just go and stack more Bitcoin for themselves. So it is like reaching out to all these people in the Bitcoin maxi sphere as well as outside who do not like Bitcoin treasury and say, there's nothing fundamentally wrong with what Bitcoin treasury companies are doing, and the FUD about it is unfair. Yeah. My take is a lot of people who are in Bitcoin probably are not happy with Bitcoin treasury company. Some of them because they feel it's bad. Bitcoin was supposed to be a bearer's asset, and now it's going out there sitting in centralized institutions. But the thing is, again, capitalism, right? It does not stop people from centralizing it and offering a share as a token for what people want to use. And that's what Bitcoin treasury companies are doing. You might not like it, but there's fundamental value in that because, as we have already discussed so many times, there are capital pools which are available only for these Bitcoin treasury companies. Sorry, I was laughing. I just read the comment, but yeah, I would love to hear from other people their comment.
Yeah, I think Bitcoin treasury companies are uh, the guys who are running these Bitcoin treasury companies. They are smart guys. Like even if we take example of Jet King, they are selling their nearly all of their real estate which they have. So this is a big thing. Like if you want to think like, can you sell your house and buy Bitcoin? I mean, it's the thought is crazy. Like all the legacy which they have built through their traditional business, and they are now selling that real estate business, and they are putting it into Bitcoin. So this taking this decision requires like guts. So all the other people like we want the Bitcoin to be translated to each and every individual, but like can you explain each and every individual to buy Bitcoin, and can you force an individual? Because I don't think a large number of population in India lives in villages. So how can we explain them like what is Bitcoin, what is blockchain, what is hardware wallet, what is software wallet? I mean, I discussed this thing with Saurabh, with Shreyan, but I don't have any answer. Like, many people are illiterate. So how do we explain this? So basically, Bitcoin treasury companies will go through the roof because they are exploiting these capital markets, and people running it are smart. They are buying Bitcoin, the most best asset ever in the world. So it may in the future, my people might get exposure to Bitcoin via a share, but I mean, I don't know. I just know it that the people who are doing this treasury company, they are smart guys, and that's the thing. And this will happen, you like it or not. This is the real truth.
True. Fortunately, unfortunately, Kello, it is one of the ways of adoption. Because as much as the Bitcoin maximalist, most of us are, we I was surprised when this happened, and after a point, it became inevitable कि बहुत सारे आएंगे. Because अगर आप last November का ही record देख लो, it was like around 40 or 50 companies, public companies across the world who were actually doing a Bitcoin strategy. Now it's over 200, if I'm not wrong, in a span of months. And all of this was fueled by what US also did. So again, global policies shape what individual corporations do. So it could be your mom and pop shop, it could be your mega corporation, MNCs. Everyone will have Bitcoin on the balance sheet. And yesterday जो Fongli का एक interview था, which we saw, उन्होंने साफ बोला है कि Figma, I'm sure a lot of designers would be aware of Figma. They don't have a Bitcoin treasury strategy. They faced with the same challenge and same problem that strategy faced in 2020. कि उनके पास कैश पड़ा है, उसका करना क्या है, they don't know. And they compared all the metrics, which is the best performing asset, Bitcoin is. तो उसमें डाल दिया. So they did it out of need. It wasn't a want कि नहीं हमें चाहिए Bitcoin treasury अपना बनना. They don't. I don't think they still have plans of making a Bitcoin treasury company. But in time, like over the next few months, years, when they see how valuable it is, they might fully port to it. But that's you cannot force them. And like an individual tries to save himself, then it goes to family, then community, and expands like that. The company will do it for its employees, for itself, for its survival, for its growth. So you can't choose and pick ना कि नहीं ये तुम्हारे लिए नहीं है. Bitcoin cannot be used by corporations. So it will eventually happen, like Digant said.
एंड आपको पता है बिटकॉइन ब्लॉक हाइट 2 MB का है, तो देर इज नॉट इनफ स्पेस ऑन द मेन चेन टू स्केल बिटकॉइन फॉर द 8 बिलियन पीपल. सो आई गेस बिटकॉइन जो है वो ट्रेजरी कंपनीज के लिए ही है यार. ज्यादातर मुझे तो ऐसे ही लग रहा है. 20 साल बाद कौन करेगा ऑन चेन यूज? इंडिविजुअल बताओ. लाइटनिंग और इकैश या फिर लेयर्स में ही करेंगे ना. ऑन चेन कौन करेगा 20 साल बाद यूज?
This yesterday, इसके लिए भी there was one counter नहीं, an add-on to this. जो yesterday एक एडम लिविंगस्टन का जो मैं that video I was watching, Sequans का. So Sequans करती क्या है? It's an IoT company, Internet of Things. And वो कर रहे हैं, they are getting Bitcoin on their balance sheet. And from what he predicts and assumes, it is said that कि ये हर चीज में imbibe करेंगे. So basically Bitcoin will be put into circulation and not just held as a treasury reserve asset. तो वो start कर रहे हैं as a Bitcoin treasury, but in time, like what Digant also mentioned, a portion of it will be used for other purposes as an experiment at first, and then it will be fueled further. तो उस चीजों के लिए you have Lightning, you have Arc, you have eCash वगैरह. And now with BitChat, हमने देखा भी how various transactions happening offline via Bluetooth. So all of this is moving in that direction where treasury companies जो भी हैं in every field requires a Bitcoin. And उसको कैसे use करेंगे we don't know. अब Steak and Shake ले लो या Tahini's ले लो. These guys are fast food chains. They don't have any business to have a digital currency on their balance sheet. उसके साथ करेंगे क्या? We don't know. जैसे ट्रेडिशनल फाइनेंस में हुआ था, रिवॉर्ड पॉइंट्स बनाएंगे टू इंसेंटिवाइज लॉयल कस्टमर बेस के a hotel chain could do that. When you're booking from a card, suppose Fold as a credit card, I mean a card and Tahini's could come together. I'm just speculating. And they could give a specialized reward points कि आप इतना sats करोगे every month if you dine with us. Some sort of mechanisms will come into place. So once store of value and that capital is established, then it will be incentivized to move it to the medium of exchange level. So this is them being accumulating it as capital and then देखेंगे कि क्या करना है उसका. So not all of it will become Bitcoin Bank, in my view. Bitcoin Bank, I think as of now, it's only strategy. There is no one. Maybe Japan में ये बन सकता है 3350 Meta Planet, but that's about it for now, at least. The biggest players in respective jurisdictions, they can become their own Bitcoin banks. UK में Semler हो गया, sorry ये हो गया Smarter Web Company. So everyone, whoever's the first mover, अपने अपने markets में, they have a potential to be a Bitcoin bank. बाकी सारे अपने अपने domain में क्या कर सकते हैं वो करेंगे. Sorry, ज़्यादा ramble कर लिया. काफी
नहीं,
excited हुआ after
No, I think
coming
very
here.
relevant.
या बट मैं ये कहना चाह रहा हूँ कि 20 साल बाद ऑन चेन नहीं करेंगे ना इंडिविजुअल्स.
करेंगे. There's nothing stopping them because companies accept करेंगे 20 साल बाद. ज्यादा लोग करेंगे मुझे लगता है.
Like what if the fees are like 1 month of your salary?
फीस होगी नहीं ना क्योंकि companies will like be
ऑन
like
चेन
we'll take
मैं
care
ऑन
of
चेन
this.
यूज कर रहा हूँ. मैं सॉरी मैं ऑन चेन की बात कर रहा हूँ. ऑन चेन
अच्छा ऑन चेन की. अच्छा ओके. हाँ ऑन चेन नहीं पता मेरे को. ऑन चेन पे आई एम नॉट श्योर बट कस्टोडियल सॉल्यूशंस तो लोग यूज करेंगे टू पे बीटीसी फॉर प्रोडक्ट्स एंड सर्विसेज.
या वो तो है ही. बिटकॉइन डिफरेंट जाएगा ही.
एक ट्रिविया मतलब बिकॉज फिग्मा वाज मेंशन्ड. एक ट्रिविया जो मैं मेंशन कर रहा था कि फिग्मा का फाउंडर जो है डिलन फील्ड वाज रूममेट विद जुआन बेनेट. जुआन बेनेट फाउंडर है फाइलकॉइन का. तो back in 2016-17 when Joan Bennett was building Filecoin और तब ये पूरा मोमेंटम था about उसके पहले से ही मतलब Joan Bennett IPFS और Filecoin में काम कर रहा है और काफी like he was a name in that cryptocurrency space, distributed computing space. And Figma took its own sweet time. Like Figma took like 6 or 7 years to build their product. But they were aware about cryptocurrency since a very long time. And now that they're going public with 5% of their treasury holding in Bitcoin. So whatever you do, like the people around you get affected because of it. तो मेरे को लगता है कि इस मूवमेंट में बिटकॉइन ट्रेजरी जो कंपनीज काम कर रही हैं, this will affect their investors and then their investors will go and talk about Bitcoin to someone else and it's just spreading the movement around. और दूसरा point that I wanted to mention and call out was it's very likely that Figma, being such a Bitcoin bull, will start accepting their products and services in exchange of Bitcoin sooner than other companies.
Absolutely. Does anyone want to answer Sachin's question यहाँ पे? What do Indian laws say about holding sats in your company's treasury?
Digant.
I think I don't have an opinion on what law says, but since Jet King is doing it, I think it should be they are doing it in a legal way and not like doing some shady stuff. So it's legal, but yeah, I don't know what Indian laws say exactly about it.
I have something to add there. बताइए Saurabh, after you.
Yeah, just a small point. अगर आपका AOA and MOA कवर नहीं करता है सच एसेट होल्डिंग को, तो आप गूगल कर सकते हो, ChatGPT कर सकते हो कि हाउ कैन आई होल्ड एन एसेट व्हिच इज नॉट देयर इन माय AOA and MOA. एंड ChatGPT सबको मिल जाएगा आंसर कि इफ यू पास ऑन दीज रिजोल्यूशंस, इफ यू गेट दीज फॉर्म्स क्लियर्ड, you can hold it in your company's treasury. I can give you the precise form, but depending upon the AOA and MOA that you have, it might be more than just a form need.
Yeah, to add to both of you, there was अगर आप Jetking का balance sheet पढ़ोगे उसमें they've included this in a segment called other comprehensive income OCI, and it is very much valid as far as I know. And 2021 या 2022 में ये directive आया था from Ministry of Corporate Affairs where you can hold Bitcoin on your balance sheet, but you just have to report it, and any sales like profits made from it has to be paid with appropriate taxes वगैरह. But if you're buying and holding, it is very much legal and it is allowed to do so. So there is no issue.
Also, one thing that I would like to add is they are treating it as the intangible asset. So
Yeah.
they mentioned in the meetup. So
True.
yeah, that's you can treat Bitcoin as an intangible asset and then buy in the balance sheet.
सो ये जो यूएस में FASB होता है, फेयर वैल्यू अकाउंटिंग,
Yeah.
इन इंडिया इट फॉल्स अंडर OCI. So I think you can report it as a gain in the Indian context with that particular thing. So Sachin, if you would want to delve deep and read about it, yeah, that's one of the parameters which needs to be highlighted.
Yes. नेक्स्ट थिंग, वैसे मैं और दिगंत ने लास्ट में कवर किया था ये लास्ट एपिसोड में, बट निहाल है हमारा MSTR बुल, तो फिर से कवर करता है ना. स्ट्रेटेजी रिपोर्ट्स $14 billion in total Bitcoin fair value appreciation in Q2 2025. So yeah, it's a lots of money. They are eligible for S&P 500 inclusion, है ना. अब
True.
होता है कि नहीं, that's the tale of time.
ये था जुलाई 7 का डेटा. उसके बाद में बहुत कुछ हुआ है. I mean, it's
Yeah.
exploded. I mean, Bitcoin का value.
हाँ.
So I think it's much more than that now. I think 20,
नहीं नहीं, वो
28
तो
and 21
30
billion, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not entirely sure.
30 जून का जो प्राइस होगा बिटकॉइन क्लोजिंग का, उसी हिसाब से
Sorry?
वो कैलकुलेट होगा, तो 14 बिलियन ही
हाँ.
है.
हाँ.
हेलो.
रिपोर्ट के टाइम का दिखाना है ना उनको, मतलब रिपोर्ट के टाइम पे क्या प्राइस थी, तो दैट्स 40
Yeah.
मिलियन
Yeah,
दिखाने के
true.
लिए. बट या अब तो प्रॉफिट ज्यादा है, इस क्वार्टर का प्रॉफिट तो देखा ही, वो लेंगे तब पता चलेगा ना क्वार्टरली प्रॉफिट. सो या
Cool.
बस 2-3 चीज बची है. सेमिलर साइंटिफिक भी अपने इज गेटिंग अप फॉर प्रीफर्ड स्टॉक लॉन्च.
Did you see that
It is
last
something
post?
like,
Sorry to interrupt. Last post में अगर आप शेयर करोगे, वो जो नीचे कमेंट
है
किए
ना.
हैं, CB जो है चेतन बर्मन, he is one of the people of the Dabur group. अगर आप
ओ या
देखोगे, yeah.
या ही
So
जेट किंग में जो जिसका था प्रीफर्ड, अभी
yeah,
प्रीफर्ड्स में उन्होंने लिया है.
yeah. Again, that's all public information. आप जाके देख सकते हो उनके sheets.
या
So
नाइस.
he's also a big fan of Bitcoin for from what we see on his posts and retweets वगैरह अगर आप देखोगे. तो yeah, let's see where things go because people are aware about this. The corporates are aware. कब कैसे कौन से डायरेक्शन में जाता है in India we don't know. So yeah.
हाँ, मेन
हाँ.
थिंग इन्होंने प्रोफाइल में लिख नहीं रखा लाइक डाबर का ना. सो अगर कोई वैसे देखेगा तो पता भी नहीं चलेगा, लगेगा हाँ कोई नॉर्मल बंदा है
True.
ना. बट ये
या
इंडियन पब्लिक कंपनी डाबर 99,000 करोड़ मार्केट कैप है शायद.
Burman family उन्हीं किया ना. I mean I think I mean I'm sure he's from there. So
या
आई
but
डिडंट न्यू इट.
oh nice. Now you know.
या
ये जो जेट किंग ने जो वही जो न्यू शेयर इश्यू किए कि 6 बिटकॉइन लिए थे, उसमें भी चेतन बर्मन का था ना इन्वेस्टमेंट. वो CNBC ने
हाँ,
भी
मुझे
कवर किया
वो
था,
पता
CNBC
है.
ने भी
हम्म,
cover- या
वो पता है मुझे, बट ये
या
डाबर के है वो नहीं पता था मुझे.
सो या दिस थिंग सिमिलर भी प्रेफर्ड स्टॉक में आ रहे, राइट. समथिंग लाइक STR के STRF STRD.
यस.
So इसमें I think
Yes.
third and fourth point which highlights their inclination to bring out the preferreds in the future. So they are increasing their number of shares to 210 million from 50 million and to approve the amendment of restated certificate to authorize the issuance of 42 million shares of blank check preferred stock. So it clearly says what their intentions are. And this aligns with their whole plan of accumulating, I think, over 100,000 Bitcoin by 2027. But I'm glad these guys are doing it. Finally, Joe has joined them.
Yeah.
That it was all over the place, and I think they were dealing with their own sorts of regulations because medical company they have a huge amount of compliance and hassles when it comes to reporting. So I think they were firefighting everything else apart from this, इसलिए इस पे ज़्यादा concentration नहीं था. But now that Joe has come up and Natalie as an advisor, so things will ramp up and we'll see more action from Semler as well. But obviously in their own realm, they cannot be competing with your strategy or any other aggressive companies. These guys will be stable and they'll be heavily regulated, heavily compliant, but धीरे धीरे grow करेंगे is what my opinion is on this.
So this is the reason why every Bitcoin treasury company needs director of Bitcoin strategy.
Yeah.
So if you don't have this director, then me and Saurabh were discussing about it. Like, if you want to run a
Definitely.
Bitcoin treasury company successfully, you want to have a guy who is talking like giga bullish on Bitcoin. So for MicroStrategy, it's Sailor. For Metaplanet, it's Dylan Ligler and Simon Gerovich. Even at start, it was Dylan mostly. Simon started just recently, but
Yeah,
yeah,
right, right.
and for the blockchain group, it's Alexandre Lezen.
Alexandra.
So yeah,
Hmm.
I like these kind of Bitcoin treasury companies whose founders are like bullish and
Hmm.
Bitcoin maxi kind of guys.
Hmm.
And अगर
So
founders,
मतलब
बताइए.
बताइए बताइए बताइए
No,
आप.
I was telling अगर founders, if they know कि they cannot be that aggressive or they cannot bring out tools from the quiver, uh, then you hire people who are Bitcoin maxis. And that's what's happening. अगर आप Pierre Richard का भी देखोगे, तो he is doing a Bitcoin for corporations show. He has created Bitcoin bond company. अलग-अलग spheres में all the Bitcoiners are spreading themselves. So you will see more of this happen in the near future, where everyone brings their own sorts of expertise into a Bitcoin firm. Now,
Hmm.
all four of us have our respective experience in the past, work experience.
Hmm.
हम अपना understanding of the entire traditional market in a Bitcoin denominated world कैसे हो सकता है, that we can come up with. And that's how we four of us will also add and contribute to any upcoming Bitcoin treasury company. Because we are in India, we would like to see Indian companies perform better, and that's what my pitch would be to any Bitcoin treasury companies of the future in India.
Definitely.
Yeah, we can be your Bitcoin like director for Bitcoin strategy for your treasury
Yes.
company.
Hmm. या मैं ये कह रहा था कि जब आप बिटकॉइन में इन्वेस्ट करते हो, जब बिटकॉइन 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 तब आप उस बिटकॉइन के नेटवर्क पे, बिटकॉइन टेक्नोलॉजी, बिटकॉइन जो प्रोटोकॉल है, बिटकॉइन जो चीज़ है, सतोशी नाकामोटो ने बनाया, जो डेवलपर्स ने सालों से डेवलप करते आ रहे हैं, उस पे इन्वेस्ट करते हो आप यू डोंट नीड टू ट्रस्ट द डेवलपर्स और कोई भी बंदा. आप बिटकॉइन टेक्नोलॉजी में इन्वेस्ट कर रहे हो या फिर आप सेव कर रहे हो, मतलब बिटकॉइन में आ रहे हो. बट आप जब ट्रेजरी कंपनीज में आ रहे हो, तब आपको पर्सन पे बेट करनी है. द पर्सन हु इज रनिंग द स्ट्रेटेजी, पर्सन हु इज रनिंग द सीईओ और जो भी उनका एग्जीक्यूशन है. सो वो फंडामेंटल डिफरेंस है. आप बिटकॉइन में बोले तो इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि ट्रेजरी कंपनीज पे आप डाल दिया पैसा. ट्रेजरी कंपनीज पे आप बंदे पे बेट कर रहे हो. सो वो देखना है आपको.
True.
या सो
There is a management risk
ऑलमोस्ट
involved.
डेफिनेटली. कसीफ राजा भाई की कमेंट है. कॉन्ग्रेचुलेशन कसीफ भाई, 1 लाख यूट्यूब सब्सक्राइबर हो गए उनके.
Yeah,
नंबर ऑफ
good,
पब्लिक
tremendous
लिमिटेड.
feat. I was there with
या
him जब start किया था, तो अच्छा लगा, बहुत
यस.
अच्छा लगा for his
या
success and what he's achieved in these
या
last in this bull market. I mean, not bull market, in the halving period, 4 सालों में.
बिटकॉइन के बारे में काफ़ी नॉलेज रखते हैं, वो अच्छे से बताते हैं, बट साथ साथ शिटकॉइंस की भी बातें करते हैं. बट
Unfortunately,
अनफॉर्चुनेटली या बट बिटकॉइन की भी काफ़ी नॉलेज है उनको, नो डाउट.
yeah,
या number of public limited companies holding Bitcoin is treasury in major countries. US has 44, Canada has 30, UK has 9, Hong Kong has 6, Germany has 4, India has 1. Nice. And so many has 0.
yeah,
Yeah.
true.
Yeah. So बस लास्ट पोस्ट है, इसके साथ खत्म कर सकते हैं हम. इसको
Yo,
कोई आगे लीड करना चाहे तो. Hmm.
SWC कौन संभाल रहा है?
It's all about
Who's very bullish on
हाँ,
this?
So
कुल मिला के तो
on
बात
that
यही है
note,
कि या
yeah, on the SWC point, like SWC is highly successful in UK because the retail is not able to invest in IBIT. So literally, the retail doesn't have any access to doesn't had any exposure to Bitcoin. So that is the reason why SWC has crazily higher MNAM, and it literally started from 2.3 Bitcoins. So the starting phase is like from literally 2.3 bitcoins. If you invest in a company like, for example, 20 Capital, they already have 42,000 bitcoins. So generating a Bitcoin yield on 42,000 is much difficult than generating a Bitcoin yield on 2.3 bitcoins. So, like this is we can also say this way, like Bitcoin treasury companies. I mean, even retail are also able to participate in this Bitcoin treasury companies. But if you go through this VC back pipe and all, so retail will leave behind. Like SWC के साथ स्टार्टिंग से रिटेल जुड़ा है, क्योंकि लिटरली वो लोग 2.3 बिटकॉइन पे स्टार्ट किए. अगर 40-50 हजार बिटकॉइन से चालू करोगे तो जो वीसी है, जो प्राइवेट लोग हैं, वो सब पैसा कमा के निकल जाएंगे. वो जो अभी आईपीओ में होता है अपने इंडिया में, आईपीओ 1 बिलियन 2 बिलियन होने के बाद आईपीओ आता है, सारा माल रिटेल शेयर होल्डर्स पे जाता है और फाउंडर्स मजे लेते हैं फिर. तो ये अच्छा है कि what we were also discussing in last episode, like the smaller you are, the better MNAV you have, and the better Bitcoin treasury company you can build. So this is good.
Yeah. Next thing, वो स्ट्रेटजी का टॉर्क का वेबसाइट है, आगे जाके हम शायद इसको यूज करेंगे.
या
स्ट्रेटजी टॉर्क
ये कैसे यूज कैसे फंक्शन करता है, आई एम नॉट वेरी फेमिलियर विद इट.
आगे देखते हैं इसको हम. दिस इज द वेबसाइट, बट ब्यूटीफुल वेबसाइट, एंड मजा आएगा. कौन से गियर पे गाड़ी चल रही है एमएसटीआर की? 6 लाख 7 लाख 8 लाख, बैठो बैठो 1 मिलियन. बस लास्ट थिंग, सीक्वेंस SQNS पंप किया है. स्वान है ना उसमें, इसका बताओ यार. मैं तो फिर पंप ही बोलता रहूंगा यार.
So again, जैसे मैंने बोला, these guys again, Swan is backing this, and Swan में भी there's this guy called Ben Workman. Yeah, he is a extremely knowledgeable person and a Bitcoin bull, which is a good mix to have to run a treasury company. इन्होंने अपना openly ऐसे announce नहीं किया कि he is actively behind this like Jeff Walton did. He was first hired by Swan, and उसके बाद में they started getting bullish. Swan started getting bullish on Bitcoin treasuries. उनका I think report भी एक है LBE, Leverage Bitcoin Equities के नाम से. I advise you guys to check it out. And then we see, I think last 2 हफ्ते पहले there was an announcement. It was just an announcement that they are planning to raise $370 million for inducing capital into this company, Sequence. And Sequence is a France-based company who has its presence in the US stock exchange as well. Now, initially, when this news came out, there was no much excitement about it. The stock was hovering at $1.3-ish. And yesterday, July 7th, July 7th, 8th, when it was approved that the $370 million has been approved and they'll be starting Bitcoin acquisition. And they have a projected goal also that they want to get to 3,000 Bitcoin in the near term. So that is what fueled the surge of the price in this particular stock. A lot of speculation is being done. For those who are interested, check out Adam Livingston's video. ये बहुत अच्छा video है. He's given the possibilities of where this could head in the near future. We've seen this before. We've seen this exact playbook play out before with Smarter Web Company, when I personally felt क्या है, सिर्फ इतना ही तो like single digit में खरीदा है, they can't do much. And they are a web designing company. छोटी company है, कुछ नहीं हो सकता. But then after a few months, in 70 days rather, they've achieved a 36,000% Bitcoin yield to date. And I don't know, उसके बाद में मेरा I started doubting myself regarding Bitcoin treasury companies, and I'm not judging anyone. अपना करो as much as however is possible, because you don't know how deep their pocket goes and what their plans are. That's all hidden. So we don't know where Sequans will be in the near future. It could be they might reach and exceed their target of achieving 3000 Bitcoin, and uske baad mein they might set a new target, like what Metaplanet does and what strategy does every time. So yeah, that's the gist of Sequence as of now. Company क्या करती है? It's a chip manufacturing company based out of France, and they are into Internet of Things. Now, how this will play out along with what they want to achieve in the Bitcoin terms is yet to be seen. Again, the first goal is to accumulate Bitcoin as much as possible, and then they move out to what they can do with the accumulated Bitcoin. So yeah.
Yeah. So next and last, सच में लास्ट है ये टाओ अल्फा कंपनी थी और रीनेम हो चुकी है सेट्सुमा, टिकर उसका सेट्स है, मार्क मोस उसमें ज्वाइन किया है, एंड दिस इज द ट्रेजरी कंपनी इन यूके, सो इसमें भी नज़र रख सकते हो, थोड़ा अपने हिसाब से स्टडी कर लेना. वी आर नॉट एंडोर्सिंग एनी ट्रेजरी कंपनी, या फर्स्ट एंड फॉरमोस्ट हम बस डिस्कस ही कर रहे हैं. या सेट्सुमा के बारे में कोई बताना चाहे तो देन वी कैन रैप अप.
एक्स पे इसके सेट्सुमा के सेट्सुमा और एसडब्ल्यूसी, ये दो कम्युनिटी के होल्डर्स लड़ पड़े हैं क्योंकि यूटीएक्सओ मैनेजमेंट बोला था कि एवरी मार्केट में एक ही ट्रेजरी कंपनी को बैक करेंगे, बट नाउ यूटीएक्सओ इज like smaller percentage, but they are not having a board seat, a seat in the board. So how like Tyler Evans came out onto X and told that we are a minor holder in this, but yeah, like we won't hold any board seat, and basically they are trying to say that SWC will only be our like major investment in UK markets. So this is how they tackled it through. But yeah, I mean, they
डेविड
are
बेली
also
है,
investor
इतना
in
तो
this.
इतना तो डेविड बेली है तो इतना
हाँ.
तो पता ही होना चाहिए. He is
By
famous
Mr.
for
Samad,
this.
I don't understand that fellow, because yesterday you saw that news regarding Jerome Powell. उसका resignation was doing the rounds and stuff. Then he went ahead and pitched के मैं बनना चाहता हूँ, I can contribute more.
वाह,
क्या करेगा ये? Like he needs to run Nakamoto, and then he needs to do this also. Wants to be jack of all trades, ऐसे नहीं हो सकता. Like he needs to focus on something, right? So I
वही
don't
तो
know.
यार.
That's my opinion.
Yeah. And last thing,
बस करो हो गया last.
this is सच में last है. Bitcoin up की कसम. If you are trying to forecast the future value of BTC treasury company based on their Bitcoin yield and not looking at absolute Bitcoin, you are not understanding what the strategy is. ये सिंपली ये कहना चाह रहा है कि इनको सिर्फ 19.7% BTC yield आया, but they had to buy 88,062 Bitcoin. So yeah, that's it.
No,
Yield doesn't matter.
वो नहीं
Holding
कहना
it
चाह रहा है वो. ये ऐसे बोल रहा है कि do not value a Bitcoin treasury company by looking its Bitcoin yield, but also see the absolute amount of Bitcoin, like 5,97,325. So इस Bitcoin के साथ आप क्या क्या कर सकते हो? बहुत कुछ कर सकते हो. तो वो भी दिमाग में रखो कि भाई इतने बिटकॉइन हैं, तो जैसे निहाल बोल रहे थे कि लाइटनिंग नेटवर्क पे अगर इसको डाला तो कितना कैश फ्लो जनरेट हो सकता है. तो बिटकॉइन ऑन द बैलेंस शीट आल्सो हैज अ वैल्यू जो कि यील्ड नहीं दिखा पाता है. सो यील्ड इज जस्ट अ मेट्रिक एंड दिस इज आल्सो अ मेट्रिक. सो यू हैव टू लाइक सारा चीजें देख के वैल्यू करना पड़ेगा.
Cool.
सेतु.
There are two people who have asked questions. Galaxy and Prime.
मैं शुरू से लेता हूँ. रुको सॉरी, आपका स्वागत करना भूल गया था मैं यार, है ना. फिर राहुल ने आपका स्वागत किया है. वेलकम बैक
Thanks,
निहाल भाई.
Thank you, guys.
वेलकम बैक निहाल भाई. वेलकम बैक. या
Thanks, guys.
यूपीएस इक्वल टू बीटीसी, फिर ये हमने ले लिया. हेलो अभिजीत जी, हेलो बिटकॉइन गाइस, वेलकम. या नॉर्मीज आफ्टर 20 इयर्स लाइक ऑन चेन, वो क्या होता है?
This is a possibility. Unfortunately, this will be a possibility. It will be like, I mean, it's as good as telling, bank settle कर रहे हैं, अपना अपना ट्रांजैक्शन एंड एवरीवनस ऑन यूपीआई. तो यूपीआई इज अकिन टू लाइटनिंग. जो राहुल ने बोला था, आई थिंक दैट्स एब्सोल्युटली राइट कि यूपीआई इज इक्वल टू लाइटनिंग, नॉट बीटीसी. मेक सेंस.
Yeah. Election Prime, I guess new year. Bro, like how they suppressing BTC price. So now what do you think how price will go? There is no price suppression, brother. Price is at 118. There is no price suppression. Free market, eh? And yeah,
To give some
it's
context
going.
to this, yesterday Bitwise यूरोप के एक जो एनालिस्ट है, हेड एनालिस्ट, उन्होंने एक रिपोर्ट निकाला था कि डेली प्रोडक्शन वाज अराउंड 450 बिटकॉइन. आई थिंक ही गॉट दोस नंबर्स रॉन्ग. 500 कुछ लिखा है उसमें. आई डोंट नो हाउ दैट वर्क. बट एट द सेम टाइम US ETFs alone purchased 10,000 Bitcoin in one day. So, and the violent price action which you saw in the last 3 days is the result of this. Continuously, agar companies are hoarding Bitcoin like this, they will run out of sellers in the open market. कौन खरीदेगा, किससे खरीदेगा? And then they'll start bidding at a higher price. And that's what will happen. So ये आप जो क्वेश्चन पूछे हो प्राइस सप्रेशन का, इसका जवाब आपको मिल जाएगा in the next few weeks. You will see it for yourself. Because in addition to the constant accumulation by these treasury companies, by individuals, governments, etc., money printing bhi start hogi with the big beautiful bill. Now, when that happens, you will see a lot of influx in the markets. Usme stocks, all your risky assets will fly. Or at least it's been happening in the past. So that's what to expect.
Also,
Saurabh,
to add on that last point, like interest rates are yet to cut down. So अभी वो नहीं हुआ है. And yet we are at 118K. So yes.
True.
Powell Baba. Are you guys in favor of scraping capital gain tax in India so that we transition to Bitcoin standard and kill the fiat money and central banking scams sooner? देखो गवर्नमेंट को ना क्रिप्टो से प्रॉब्लम ये है, मैं इसे बता थोड़ा सा कि ये प्रॉब्लम है कि उसको टैक्स नहीं कर सकते, बिटकॉइन को टैक्स नहीं कर सकते. सो ये ट्रू है, काफी हद तक ट्रू है. हेल्फी ने फिर से हेल्फी नहीं याद आया मेरे को.
सौरभ, आप कुछ बोलना चाहोगे इसके बारे में? सौरभ,
Yes.
दिगांत, योर टेक ऑन दिस?
डू नॉट हैव अ व्यू. मेरे को लग रहा है कि बहुत ही हाइपोथेटिकल क्वेश्चन थोड़ा सा लग रहा है. मुश्किल है गवर्नमेंट ऐसा करेगी. गवर्नमेंट के पास इंसेंटिव नहीं है ऐसा करने का, तो शायद ऐसा नहीं हो.
Are you guys in favor of? So, like,
Satoshi was in favor of.
So
Maybe.
again, it's a debatable question and debatable answer. We do not want to address this question because there's at least I don't want to address this question because there's a lot of backstory and a lot of क्या कहते हैं, alternative ways. जैसे हम starting of the episode में we were talking about Bitcoin being adopted on policy level in India. So when that happens, if that happens, you will see this question being irrelevant because if it's imbibed into the system, now usme kaise hoga, how will it transition, we are yet to be seen. And again, too soon to bring out stances like this because it's all hypothetical as of now and it will change in time. And how soon it will change, it depends on all the actors involved: individuals, corporations, politicians, and the government. So every stage has its own purpose and everyone will serve their own purpose in time. It will come.
या डेफिनेटली. और ना इसमें हमें इट डजंट मैटर कि हम इसके फेवर में है कि नहीं है, बिकॉज बिटकॉइन विल एनीवे किल द फियाट मनी एंड एनीवे किल द सेंट्रल बैंकिंग. सो मैटर नहीं करेगा हम फेवर करते हैं कि नहीं, बस आप देखते जाओ. हाँ, scraping it would enable more companies to hold Bitcoin as well, right? I guess the answer is no.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. है ना?
Actually,
Yeah.
scraping it will remove the incentive of holding a Bitcoin treasury company. Right now, this tax arbitrage, that's why people buy Bitcoin treasury company. Scrapping it will actually remove that incentive.
Right. Definitely. Yeah. Next thing, bro, some guy is saying me Satos will come and sell all his Bitcoin. हाँ ठीक है बेचने दो
करने दो यार,
हमें
no
अच्छे
problem.
डिप मिलेगा ना we will buy the dip we'll get some sets doesn't
सही
matter
मजाक
for Bitcoin.
है. Good one, good joke.
So yeah, इसी के साथ we can finish.
Yeah.
Thank you everyone for being the part of
Yes.
this show.
Again, Galaxian, we would suggest आप कल हमारे शो पे आइएगा. We are doing another show where we discuss macro in general. This was specially for Bitcoin treasuries, but yeah, वो Bitcoiner कल आना.
Yeah, every Sunday 11:30 12 p.m. something every Sunday me and Nihal host Bitcoin weekly show. So वहाँ पे you are inviting election prime. Nice. So the comment क्या है वो हो गया ना कवर.
Yeah, I mean, we just
Yeah.
will figure that out later tomorrow. चलिए. Powell के resignation के बारे में था. It's just अभी तो
Yeah.
चलेगा. I mean, US का politics
Unlikely.
में
It's
delete
unlikely,
डालिए.
right?
True.
सेतु आपका कैमरा क्वालिटी एक्सेलेंट है मस्त है
Thank you.
सच में
Thank you.
iPhone का कमाल.
I'll make the setup change वो मैं temporarily यहाँ आया अभी Delhi, but I'll be back to Dharamshala, so yeah, I'll have a
बाहर
better
दिखाना
setup.
आपको.
बाहर दिखाऊंगा मैं.
ठीक है. We can finish. Can we finish?
Yes.
Cool.
ठीक है guys.
चलिए.
Everyone, thank you for joining it. Saurabh, Digant, Nihal भाई. अगले
Thank
episode
you.
मिलते हैं.
अच्छा लगा
राहुल हमारे
after a long
Yeah.
break आकर के
Yeah.
and to discuss about all of this. We will continue more of this and we'll try to go in depth on each of what we find because कभी-कभी
Yeah.
over हो जाता है तो yeah.
Yeah.
दिगांत तो सेलर के मैंशन में बैठे हैं.
वो क्योंकि वो बहुत अच्छे piano player है. He's a very good piano
Piano
player.
player.
So they have got the best background.
जाके बजाना भाई.
वर्चुअल बैकग्राउंड है.
नहीं आना सही है.
चलो.
ठीक है guys. Yeah.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
All
Take
right.
care.
Number one thing you can do is educate the world on Bitcoin and let people know they need to figure out Bitcoin. And every one of you does make a difference because I would never get those meetings if it wasn't like someone that went and said, you got to pay attention. And my last point to you, you do not sell your Bitcoin. Thank you. Thank you.